Hi, everyone. I'm Joseph Onesta. I'm a clinical hypnotist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I've known Randy a couple of years now, but only got to work with her recently. At a conference a few months ago. She did a group regression that I thoroughly enjoyed and had the greatest experience. So when I attended her workshop at the Mid America Conference, great speech, by the way. Anyway, I attended her workshop and she needed a volunteer. And I thought, well, I liked the last time, so I'll volunteer this time. And it was about sleep issues. And, within just literally minutes, I'm pretty good at going into trance, but within minutes, I was about 5 years old, in my bedroom with my brother. He's 11 years older than I am, and it I, it wasn't traumatic at all, except that I found myself remembering something that I haven't thought about in years, and that was laying on my side with my arm under my ear, and I would hear what I later discovered to be my heartbeat. But I always imagined as a 4 or 5 year old that it was a monster coming up from the basement. And I used to trace his steps and I would get really scared as the monster came to the door. And then, because the door didn't burst open, I tried to do it again and again, and I would not be able to sleep. And so recently, I've been having this waking up and having to go back to sleep, sometimes 4 or 5 times a night. And so Randy hypnotized me in front of a room full of people. And I was back there and I understood that it was okay for me to go to sleep because I didn't have to be afraid. I wasn't afraid as an adult. I'd processed through this trauma as a kid. But the truth is that now I'm hardly waking up at all. In fact, I slept through an entire dinner that in which I received an award. I had no idea, but there I
That's such a
was.
story in
It's
itself.
such, yeah, and because I planned to go, but I fell asleep and I was out, and so now I'm waking up not many times, maybe once or twice a night still, but it's like my mind automatically goes to that little boy in that bed, and it's like, it's really okay. You're okay. That little child that we all have inside of us. And I just sort of talk to him and say, it's okay, you can go to sleep. And I go right back to sleep, and I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
That
So
is,
that's my story.
oh, Joseph, I love that. And that's there's so many things to talk about in that beautiful thing that most of us wake up at night, but it's falling back to sleep easily and
Mhm.
quickly, right? And being able to befriend and love up a younger self, right? Instead of being annoyed or whatever happens. And that's what you did. I I had heard after my anxiety, depression, insomnia class that someone was talking that you got hypnotized. They didn't know it was me, and that you slept great that Friday night. And then I'm like, Mark, that was me. And but then we were all like, "Where's Joseph?" During the awards banquet when they're wanting to give you an award, and you slept through it.
I slept through it. And you know what? I would have adored getting that reward. I would have been very surprised. I was indeed. But honestly, I don't feel bad about having slept through that at all. It's I could go back to sleep usually, but honestly, that it's everything is different now because I know where to go. My mind doesn't go to the things of the day or anything like what do I have to do tomorrow. It's just that little boy laying in that bed, afraid of the monster in the basement. And
And you
I
didn't,
think I'm going to make a script out of that.
right. But you did not have a conscious awareness that that was the trip, tripping you up when you went to sleep. It's not like that's what popped into your head, but that on a subconscious level made you think about things, maybe the same feeling, right? So that's what our subconscious creates, that connection and that feeling, right? And that's the beautiful thing about hypnosis. And that's part of why I wanted us to have a chat right now, was because we know, you and I know how powerful and healing hypnosis can be for anxiety, depression, insomnia, everything, right? Pretty much anything you could think of, hypnosis is great for, because our subconscious has stored everything that's ever happened to us, but it stores those memories from the perspective of the age we are when the event takes place. But people don't realize how beneficial it could be for insomnia, and that you just being kind to that little self, like working as a team. We didn't know. I know you were excited to go to sleep that night, and you went to bed early and slept wonderfully. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
you can't.
and I've done so much work with insomnia, but always related to anxiety and stress. So always dealing with, okay, what are the stressors? What is, and I don't, honestly, I didn't traditionally use a lot of regression for that. But I will tell you, Randy, I've learned a lot from you, and though I was trained, by Roy Hunter and know a lot of stuff, I learned from you some pretty neato tricks. And I if I have a hard nut to crack with insomnia, I will very likely just say, well, let's do this. Let's see. And
Excellent.
I love the affect bridge. I love that. And just for getting you there. And I'm really glad that where I ended up wasn't traumatic because I'd already processed it. Of course, you and I know if it is somehow traumatic, we know how to help people.
I don't
So,
want anyone to relive a trauma. Like, to me, that's
right.
not the point of regression, right? You would go, snuggle with that younger self in your bed, right? You get
Right.
you out of there and go to the beach or wherever you like to go. This is nothing to do with reliving traumas, right? You drew a conclusion about yourself, about the world, right?
Right.
We create a belief about ourselves or something else. That's what we want to know and help reframe. You did get through it no matter what happened, right? There are always positive learnings that you can take. And through that, it reduces or dissolves the emotional charge. So when you think of that, it's neutral or even empowering, right?
Right.
So like, if you could tell the world, like, why this works, or what, like, we're both hypnotists, and help people overcome everything, whether we use regression or and hypnotic enhancers, which is what I do, or some other ways. There are so many different ways. So what can you say to the world before we wrap up, that you
Before
would want to say?
before we wrap up, what I want to say is, and I love the fact that we're not looking for trauma. But the thing is I personally, because I had eventually figured out that I was listening to my own heartbeat, that I would have never thought that as a child had me waking up frequently and sometimes having difficulty going back to sleep. I would have never thought that. I in having to revisit that, or no, I didn't have to. My unconscious mind decided this is let's just clue you in, Joseph. Let's just wake you up today and put you to sleep. And it's like, oh, and I love when the unconscious mind goes, oh, I just love that. And that's what happened to me in what? 4 minutes or something in front of a room full of people at a conference, my brain went, "Mm," and everything changed.
Yeah. So I would encourage anyone listening to this who has sleep issues or any issue really to go to a hypnotist who and resolve it, right? So your subconscious goes, oh, and then when you go
Oh,
to sleep, you go, right? Oh,
and I know, you want to say any hypnotist? I don't know. I don't know that. I'm in the city of Pittsburgh, and the hypnotists around here, I never see them at conferences. I don't know them. I have a very hard time. So if I go to Randy.
or go to Joseph. Yeah. For weight loss, go to Joseph, although I do work with that too, but
Sure, I'm
and
sure
for
you do.
insomnia, go, definitely don't. I mean, sleep is everything, right? And you now that you're sleeping great, I think of sleep, being able to sleep is also part of being a peak performer, which I call myself a peak performance coach. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can be like, yeah, I got this. I can do this.
Absolutely. I'm much more productive. I mean, I didn't think of saying things like that, but since that conference, I'm working on a book and I've written 3 chapters. Four, I'm
Yes.
on in the fourth, and it's like this is now going because I'm much more alert. I do wake up between 4 and 6 every morning, so I go to bed quite early. But I'm much, much more productive. And I didn't even know that I was being hampered. So there you go.
Joseph, thank you. Thank you for doing this with us. And you know I have a deep desire to elevate the consciousness of humanity, move us forward into love. And I believe that each person we help overcome and heal their trauma, heal their history, become the best version of themselves. Now we're going to get your book faster. It'll be better. And there's just so many benefits. So let's keep rocking this world. And I really, really appreciate you sharing how incredible that of a transformation that was for you.
And I appreciate you, Randy. Thank you so much. And I'll see you at a conference very soon.
Yes, let's hope so.